All right, thank you all for attending. And just like Laurie said, we are doing Sleep to Slender. It is our medically supervised weight loss program we've been running here at Valley Sleep Center for a few months now, and we've had a good handful of successful clients and patients that have lost a good chunk of weight. More patients that are just in the mix that are just continuing to progress along the way and get that weight off them that they've been struggling to try to lose. So, the whole benefit of the Sleep Slender program is going to primarily target obstructive sleep apnea patients. They're one of our bigger demographics, and most of the time they have generally some weight to lose. Really benefit from a lot of weight loss, whether you have sleep apnea or not. But again, if there's at least 20 pounds, we're going to most likely find some good results with you. So the program focuses on the health benefits of losing weight and keeping it off. There's a lot of health weight loss programs out there that exist in the world that are kind of temporary weight loss programs. They're not permanent, and that's where our whole focus is on, is trying to get you to lose weight, keep it off, and keep the weight off for the lifetime. We're providing resources to help lose weight, assist with your goals. We're going to focus on supporting you as a patient, as somebody that's coming to us for help. There's nutrition education. We have a registered dietitian. We have meal plans, accountability. That's our Facebook group. We really encourage patients to be part of it. There's always good resources popping up and things coming out, and Lori doing workouts and like tips and tricks and such that have been put out on the Facebook feed to not just help a person be able to continue to lose weight. We work on appetite suppression and some natural energy enhancing supplements. So some of the processes we will look at intermittent fasting, of course, nutrition and calorie education, good sleep hygiene. It's very huge. Appetite suppression, understanding how hydration works. It plays a huge and massive role on weight loss. And then, of course, we have the accountability group. The program itself is 12 weeks, okay? Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you're just going to be 12 weeks and be gone. Depending on how a person is progressing during this program, we may have you come back for more visits. If a person crashes and burns and maybe doesn't do so well and they kind of fall off the wagon, we can, of course, restart this program. We can get the process moving again. But depending on how you finish at the end of the 12 weeks may progress of how often we need to see you. Maybe it's every month, maybe it's every 3 months, maybe it's every 6 months, depending on how a person's doing. So there's generally a bunch of questions to consider. I have 8 questions that a person should think about when it comes time to lose weight. Obviously, are you motivated to lose weight? There's sometimes patients are happy and content with what they are. Just because they're overweight doesn't necessarily mean that the world is over for them or that they're not comfortable. But so you have to be motivated to get anywhere with anything. How distracted are you? Right now we're living in a world of obviously COVID and a pandemic, and there's certain financial struggles that people deal with, and there's a lot of variables that are happening in this world that nobody has ever accounted for. But so how distracted are these things that could deter you from having success? What are the means you use food for? There are people, of course, use food to cope for stress. Is this something that you're doing? How ready are you to learn some new strategies coping with stress, or how to eat, learning how to eat and stuff like that? How much support do you have? Do you have support from your family, your friends? Do you need support from us? Having outside people to kind of keep you on board and keep you on track makes for better accountability and keeps a person, continually moving forward in the program. Are you willing to change eating habits? When we give this list of what you can and cannot eat, there's going to be items on the I cannot eat this list that you probably don't cut out of your diet very often. There's also going to be items that are on this list that you might not have ever considered eating. So more or less, understanding, are you ready to change these habits, is a big goal, big important step. How willing are you to amp up activity? Exercise and such like that is a huge, massive weight loss and keeping weight loss off benefit. When it comes to diets, there's only certain things that can be managed. You can cut diets and such, but without additional exercise and activity, it makes the sustainable process of weight loss difficult. And of course, how much time do you have on your hands? A lot of people don't realize how much time we really do have in a day. Some of us have more lingering time than others, and we spend it doing monotonous activities. Maybe we're on social networks. Maybe we're watching television. Maybe we're, not directing your time correctly or wisely. And commitment of time to this diet and exercise is an important step. So the initial weight loss visit, there's going to be, of course, paperwork. There's always paperwork. So there's a pamphlet of paperwork that we're going to have you fill out. We may end up doing an electrocardiogram if that's something that we deem is absolutely necessary. We're going to want to see if you have recent lab work. And of course, when it comes to lab work, if there's something that's popping up that raises red flags, we may direct you back over your PCP if certain variables aren't being managed, like so maybe you have diabetes or some cholesterol issues or something that needs to be, medication for that. So intermittent fasting. This is a process we are using. Not every patient is doing it, but this is a really huge, helpful step in weight loss. And intermittent fasting isn't so much a diet as more of a different way of eating. What intermittent fasting focuses on is the 16-8 window, where you spend 16 hours of your day generally not eating. You kind of structure it to obviously sleep during that time frame to knock out a whole bunch of hours. And then the other 8 hours of your day you eat. You try to eat well, enough food to sustain you throughout the other 16 hours. You can't just have one meal during that and just, I guess I'm full, I'm going to be good for the rest of the day. And that's not sustainable. Now, intermittent fasting has quite a bit of health benefits, which is one of the reasons why we use it. I mean, it has an effect on helping prevent some neurodegenerative diseases, helps control insulin levels, and affects your human growth hormones. That reduces insulin resistance and lowers blood sugars. It has an effect on heart disease, blood pressure, cholesterol. It can boost your metabolism. Obviously, it reduces inflammation in your body, which is where all of these things come from. Your body goes through this period called autophagy. Really what it is it's your body's ability to internally, the antioxidants are flushing your body of toxins. Okay, so it's removing the waste from your body and removing cells. So it has a multitude of different health benefits, whether you're dieting or not. It's just in the way of eating. One thing that we like to discuss when it comes to diet is where are you getting your calories from? Ultimately, at the end of the day, calories in, calories out is how a person's going to gain or lose weight. And there are a multitude of different ways that we get all these hidden calories, okay? Now, drinking, what we're physically drinking can be calorie bombs. This particular diagram here is not off base for a person to consume in a day. Maybe they have a glass of orange juice, a latte or something in the morning, and you can see that the calorie intake can be 110, 250 calories in just some liquid beverages. Maybe soda's a vice for you. Maybe you drink a lot of, I have people that drink a 2 liter of soda a day, and that's so much sugar, so many calories, so much stuff that's going to affect your blood sugars. It's gonna be just calorie bombs, makes a person gain weight. Maybe you have coffee, again, mid-afternoon coffee for a pick-me-up. It's not unheard of by any stretch. Lemonade, wine, these things, like this whole diagram details out 848 calories. Now, if we're following the 2,000 calorie a day sort of base diet, you're going to consume almost half of it by drinking something. There's not a lot of room for food, and this isn't going to really fill you up. But what will is water. Water is, it does fill our stomach up, but water can be boring. So adequate hydration can be key, but what do we drink? Okay. Now with this particular diagram here with the water drops like Aminos and sort of water supplement, maybe a person wants to put some lemon in their water and things. All of these things make your ability to want to drink more water helpful. What water does is it stretches our stomach. So we have stretch receptors in our stomach that tells us when we're hungry and not hungry. And when our stomach starts to shrink a little bit, your body sends these signals out that says, hey, hungry, you're hungry, you're hungry. And a lot of times you're just really thirsty. What you need to do is throw some water back, stretch your stomach out, and then you can sustain a little longer. It's also a helpful trick during this intermittent fasting process. How our urine looks gives us a really good idea of how hydrated we are. I'm sure a lot of us see multiple different colors here. Now, go into the yellows and the dark colors, not the colors you need. Now, if a person takes vitamins or multivitamins and things, and that can sometimes spike that, but that's vitamin related. It has nothing to do with your hydration levels. But we want definitely a clear to or a pale yellow sort of color out of your urine that tells us you've been drinking enough water. Amino acids. Amino acids is a product that we want patients to use. So what amino acids are is they're kind of like the building blocks of protein. They can help boost muscle growth. They can help lower cravings and give you more energy. Protein is actually one of our major sources of how we of energy. Amino acids helps facilitate, pulls the proteins into the muscles and into the body, and it converts it into amino acids. Now, amino acids would be taken multiple different times during the day. You'd want to take some amino acids in the morning with breakfast, or in the first meal of the day, some in the middle of the day, some towards dinner. There's different types of amino acids. We have this 2-pill process, which is something we were using, but there's multiple different types of amino acids out there. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to take multiple pills. Now, one of the other weight loss strategies we're using is a stimulant. It's Phentermine. Okay, Phentermine, years and years and years ago, it got a bad rap because of a different sort of medication that it was using that had a lot of heart issues and caused cardiac issues. This is a reformulation. It's not the same stuff, okay? It's particularly one of the reasons why we're going to do an EKG in lab. Now, what the Phentermine more or less is going to help do is jumpstart your weight loss. A lot of times weight loss you can feel like you're kind of just dragging your heels in the mud and not gaining traction. This is kind of like a massive boost to that metabolism. It says, hey, okay, let's move forward and let's start losing this weight. If Phentermine is something we're going to be using, it's going to be given out after the first visit. We're not giving it out right away. Again, the amino acids and such is going to be something we're going to be talking about giving out with the second visits and such like that, kind of with the Phentermine if necessary. So a sample daily meal plan, a concept, okay? Now, you're in this fasting window, which is the 16-hour window. When you're breaking your fast, you're going to be taking your amino acids and Phentermine. You break your fast with something healthy, something sustainable, like I have on here with a breakfast with a smoothie, something plant-based, Quest whey protein, some sort of healthy way to break your fast, okay? You're going to want to maybe have a good healthy breakfast. Maybe some in it. Carbohydrates are okay. You can eat some carbohydrates that, ultimately it's going to be trimmed in the initial stages. We're going to pull back on a lot, but a lot of times what you put in your body is all calorie driven, not so much what it is, it's how much of it are you eating. Be hydrating throughout the day. Of course, eating lunch, you're going to have whole foods, real foods, protein, chicken, some lean meats, some vegetables, lots of vegetables. You want 50% of your plate should be vegetables anyways, so stock up. Hydrating throughout the day, of course, maybe if you have room in your calorie deal for a snack, there's a lot of very healthy snacks. There's different types of protein bars that are very low calorie, and they have good high levels of protein in them. Hydrating, of course, dinner, and if you have and again, more room for a snack at the end of the day. But the kind of the key is eating healthy food, eating whole foods, real foods. That's our body digests it better, and our body's ability to process what you're eating is healthier. Plus, when we fill ourselves up with this processed food and such, we can get kind of sluggish and tired. That's an assisting factor to kind of how people feel during the days. When I have patients that say, I'm still very sleepy during the day, and everything with their sleep is checking out well. And it's like, well, how's your diet? How are you drinking enough water? How are these other factors? And a lot of times they're not doing so well in that variable. So, that's a big, huge one. And of course, when you start your fast, you're back to that 16-hour no calorie window. So counting carbs. Again, as I mentioned, calories is a big factor in how you're going to lose weight. One of the smartest, most sustainable ways to lose weight is not a crash diet where you lose 15, 20 pounds in a week or two. It's losing 1 to 2 pounds a week. And in order to burn 1 to 2 pounds a week, a person needs to burn in excess of an extra 500 to 1,000 calories per day. Okay, that's getting into a calorie deficit. 3,500 calories is 1 pound of fat. Again, if you trim 500 calories in a day, there's your 1 pound of fat. Okay, once your metabolism starts getting jump started, the ease of burning more calories is a thing, and you can actually burn more weight. You can lose more weight quicker if you factor in some exercise as well. MyFitnessPal is something we would love patients to get on board with because it helps a person track what they're actually eating. It's a very good app, and it's free. It's been around for some years. It connects to a lot of different Apple Watches and Garmin devices and things, and it can be linked together. And plus, there's the ability to be part of certain groups that kind of help a person stay accountable. So in this particular diagram, you can see that there was about a 1,400 calorie sort of guideline that they were trying to stay under. And this person on a Friday particularly, well, they blew that out of the water. But when they look at the total for the week, this person was 469 net calories under. So they technically were under their weekly goal. Maybe they're not going to lose a ton of weight on that, but at least at the end of the day, you can see that you are on your path and on the right direction for weight loss. Getting active and staying active, like Lori mentioned with the exercise stuff that we're doing on our Facebook page, we're putting out different types of exercise, whether it's high intensity interval training or other processes that she's using that are on our Facebook page. But what obviously is going to boost your cardiovascular, but by putting on actual muscle, which some people get scared of adding muscle, but muscle burns fat. And the only way you could add muscle is with training to add muscle. So exercise is that only method. It helps accelerate weight loss. And studies show that people who maintain weight loss over long term are regularly physically active. Now, one simple method to get weight off or get some activity is obviously walking. Now, let's say a person walks around the block, and you walk around the block every day. Eventually, your body can take on more than around the block once. Now, one simple method to actually accelerate weight loss is add weight to yourself, like a backpack full of books or something you can throw on and you have something mass to carry. That can accelerate weight loss. Parking farther in the parking lot when you go to the grocery store, that helps. Taking stairs instead of the elevator. All of these things amp up weight loss. One of the things I've noticed a lot with patients, especially during this whole pandemic and we've been shut down, is that they're not as active as they used to be. Nobody's moving around as much. Maybe you're not driving to work, having to get ready, walk into the office, walk around the office. You're not doing any of these things anymore. So weight loss has been difficult for a lot of people because they've not focused on these factors of, I need to get up and I need to be moving around more. So start with we have these seven, another set of seven healthy cues. Planning ahead. Now, planning ahead is something along the lines of, if you're out and about for the day and you're running chores, errands, whatever you're doing, and you get hungry, what's easy to get food from? Fast food. It's quick, simple, easy to get. That's not planning ahead. Planning ahead is having healthy, sustainable food with you. A protein bar or a healthy, snack or a salad or something that you're you're packing that keep with your body, with your person. Eating slower, again, that ties back into our stretch receptors of our stomach. If you drink water and then you start eating your food becomes, you become fuller quicker. And when you eat slower, you're allowing your body to catch up with those stretch receptors. Eating mindfully isn't so much thinking about what you're eating, it's thinking about how you're eating it. That's where the intermittent fasting comes into play. Also, people can tend to be a grazer. Like they might have snacks in their house that they can just walk by, like a jar of cookies, and it's like, I want one cookie, and there it is. And there's 90 calories out of just a simple small cookie. Having your stress under control. When a person's under duress and stress, your cortisol levels are high, your body's ability to lose weight is terrible. Plus, if you're sleeping terribly, your body's going to be under stress. Now, you might not be physically stressed. Your body's under stress, and your body's cortisol levels are super high. Eating before you're hungry. Now, when a person starts fasting, you're going to be hungry because you're not used to eating like that. It takes a little bit of time to adjust to a fast. So maybe you don't do a full 16-hour fast. Maybe you do 14, 10, or something along the lines, and it's a little condensed window. But eating before you're hungry is a lot when it is the time to eat, that you're making sure you're eating enough food again to sustain you through the fast. Giving yourself time. 1 to 2 pounds a week isn't those crash diets. So the ability to lose 100 pounds is gonna take a little bit of time for you to be able to get there. And I was also learning your hunger cues. What triggers you to want to eat? Is it just being hungry, or are there stressors, or is it, sitting on the couch? Is it parties? What are your hunger cues? What triggers you to tend to overeat? Again, we have our Facebook support group. We really encourage patients to be part of this. It is engaging. We have Lori, who's obviously part of it. I'm part of the support group. Some of our nurse practitioners help out with, answering questions and being active with some of our patients that are on there. So the next steps really are more or less, if this is something you want to get part of, is to schedule an appointment. This is a billable appointment that goes through insurance. If a person has obstructive sleep apnea, we can bill your insurance. If you don't have obstructive sleep apnea or no sleep disorders, or you're really interested in losing weight, there is a private pay rate for the program. But again, most of our patients that are going to be taking part of this do have a medical diagnosis that we will work with that allows us to bill insurance for these visits. And of course, that allows for the program to be reasonable.